This is maintenance day on the mini excavator, and I have questions that I want answers to. One of my questions is, how much does that counterweight really weigh? I don't know. Do you know? I'm going to pull that off, put it on a scale, and see how much it weighs. I need to take that off to get the rear cover off to do my oil change. I'm going to lube everything, make sure it's good. I'm going to show you guys how to do it on this machine. Now remember, I'm no expert. I'm just a guy with a Chinese mini digger. Is this really a cheap little Chinese digger with a name brand on it? Or is this a little nicer than some of the cheap Chinese ones that you see out there? I don't know. We'll see. What I'd really like to do is find somebody with one of these in my area. I'm in Oklahoma, and I want to park one of these things side by side without having to go out and buy one myself right now. What I'd really like is a high top HT10 to compare side by side with this. Put them side by side in here, take them both apart at the exact same time, and really see if they're identical. Because they might be, but they might not be. We'll find out. First, we have to take this cover off. So I need to take this counterweight off. To do that, there's two bolts. It's a 27mm bolt on the bottom, and there's a nut on the top. So I'm going to stick my wrench in there, hold it on the top, and pull it off on the bottom. So underneath, see these two bolts? This one here and this one here. We need to take those out. Now on the inside, see the nut right there? We need to get that nut off. Some big beastie nut and bolt in there. There's a, big beastie nut and bolt in there. There's a washer on the outside and a washer on the inside. And that's what holds this on. So with those two bolts off, this, it slides right out. And it is heavy. It is all there. The next step is taking out the bolts that hold this back cover on. Some of them you can get to from up top here. Something unique about this one, this is the hydraulic oil cooler and the electric fan, and it mounts to that rear panel. So with the rear panel off and this bolt not in, I gotta figure a way to mount that up, probably make a new bracket for it. So there's a bolt right here that's very difficult to get to because this is mounted right there and you have to try to get around it somehow. So this is bolted to the back panel. The back panel is held on by 3 bolts on either side. These top ones are a bit of a booger, middle ones are easy. This one's a real pain. And yeah, but the back of the machine's now exposed. I see online people say it's easier to do the oil change with the boom turned. So let's turn it real quick. So with the cover off, you've got your oil dipstick, and this is your drain plug. How in the world are you supposed to efficiently drain that oil? That's really a pain. So I bought a little extension tube for that, so it'll make future oil changes easier, but this one will be messy. There's no getting around that. I'm going to take some tin foil and I'm going to wrap this up in tin foil to try to keep it somewhat clean. And then maybe poke a hole in the bottom of the tin foil. So that should help keeping it clean. We shall see if this works. This is a 12 millimeter. That one's not going to work. I decided to go with this Rotella T6 5W40. I don't know, any oil is good oil, but I've got an empty Mobil 1 can here, and I need to make sure I've got just over a quart in there. So I'm going to pour it in here so I can measure it. This will be my measuring can. That looks like a quart. So I'm going to pour this stuff in here. They make this whole process awkward. And then check it. Looks good. So to check the oil level, take out your dipstick. Clean it off, hold it up there, don't screw it in, check the level. I'm about halfway, that looks good. Put it back in. Everybody's machine comes with a toolbox. It is not, it is a tools box, not a tool box. Tools go in the tools box. So what's in the tools box? Let me show you. In the tools box, we have, I don't know, we have some sort of grease. Looks delicious. We have a manual book. This is the RH143 Mini Excavator Manual Book. We also have a Briggs and Stratton Operator's Manual. Look, we have a seat belt. We have a little hose for a grease gun probably. Oh, look, we have a cute little grease gun. We have an adjustable wrench. We have some other sort of wrench. We've got a 22 and a 24. A 13 and a 16, a 10 and an 8. A 19 and a 17. This is a grease fitting, a little needle. We have an Allen key, another little grease fitting, and we have little plastic pieces that go to something. We also have extra little grease fittings in here. And I don't know if I put these in here or if these are already in here, but I got a whole bunch of zip ties. So that's what comes in the toolbox. My favorite part is the grease. Have you ever wondered how much the counterweight on the back of the machine weighs? I want to know. I don't know what it weighs. I've been curious. I see on these groups, people are talking about adding 200 pounds to the back, adding this, adding that. Some machines are heavier weight, some are lighter. I don't know how much mine is. So I pulled it off. I've got a scale, and let's check it. Let's see how much it weighs. Let's find out how much this really weighs. £89. The rear counterweight weighs 89 pounds. So now I've got the oil changed. About to put the cover on. May as well this is really easy. Just check this air filter, which is really simple. If you can't check an air filter on this machine, you probably need to get a different hobby, because this thing's really simple. Take the cover off. You've got a wing nut on here. Take off the wing nut. And then there's your filter. Pretty simple. I like to keep the machine clean, so whenever I'm working on it, I just wipe off all the dirt that I can see. Just keep it looking nice. Makes it nicer to work on it later too. The air filter's got numbers on it, maybe a part number, we'll see. From everything I can see, it looks like a Briggs and Stratton. So now we're going to put that back cover on. Remember, it's got 3 bolts down each side, and it's got this hydraulic cooler. Now in the future, I'm probably going to end up doing something different, so I have a hinge cover, but for now we're just going to put this back on. I'm probably not going to put every bolt on, but I'm going to put the bolts necessary to hold it together on the machine. 3 bolts down each side. We'll grab a couple bolts, put them up top on either side. So I just learned a little trick. Take the airbox out. With the airbox out, you can get a tool in here a lot easier, and you can hit these bolts. I can even hit this top bolt, everything but the bottom. So with my big tool here, I can hit all 3 bolts on the left side and the top 2 on the right side. That bottom one has to be done by hand, and because that hydraulic cooler is in the way. With that box on there, you can't fit a tool in. I can kind of get to that one almost. Yeah, but if you take this out of the way, it'll make your life a lot easier. Another little touch-up I decided to do is that counterweight had scratched up the back here. So I sanded it down a little bit and just hit it with some Rustoleum, which matches actually. So if you have one of these machines and you're looking for matching paint, this is ultra matte slate, which it doesn't have to be that matte, but that slate color of Rustoleum actually is the same color as the machine, if you can tell. So from the factory, this counterweight sits like that. You can pull it back just a little bit. It gives you, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. And maybe that'll help, Maybe it won't, but there's a little bit of gap here. So before you tighten those bolts back up, that also leaves a little more space so you can take this piece off without removing the counterweight. The problem is you're going to scratch the living daylights out of it. That's why I had to just paint it, because I scratched mine up because the counterweight was still on it. So from my 6-month review video, I keep hearing from everybody, this cover, the reason that the exhaust is hitting right here is because it's in the wrong spot. And if I flipped it, that's the way it's supposed to be. Does that look like it's supposed to be like that? No. So either it hits right there and it's almost completely blocked, or the way it came is like this and then it's only partially blocked. So what this hole is, one of you said this, and this is awesome. Thanks for letting me know. This is so you can reach in here and you can access your spark plug, and you can get your spark plug like that. That's what this hole is for. It's not for the exhaust. This is all vented. The exhaust will go through it no matter what. So thank you for that. That is helpful, because that seems to be exactly what it's for, and that makes sense. So we'll put this cover back on. For greasing, I jumped on Amazon and I bought this little grease gun. Got this grease for it. And when I put the fitting in, it got stuck. I couldn't get it out. So I bought this one. And this one's awesome. You just stick this in the hole, and it's got the little teeth come out, grab on, and you're good to go. So as tight as these are, this is a lock and lube. You just put your little lock and lube down in there, it grabs on, and hit it. Comes right off. Well, maintenance stuff's done. Everything's greased. Track tension's good. Oil's changed. Hydraulic fluid looks good. Painted a few little pieces on here. Now know how much the counterbalance weight weighs. And we know it can pick up a trailer and change a tire. I wonder what other machines it can pick up.